In this episode of Pills of Tech and Law, we are going to dive into the Darknet. When we do a search with our web browser, we are surfing the web, the World Wide Web. The Darknet is a hidden part of the internet that you can't access with regular browsers like Edge, Chrome or Safari. You need a special software like Tor to go there. It is often used to protect privacy and to avoid being tracked, but it's also known for illegal activities. Joining us today is Stephen David Brown, international cybercrime consultant. Thank you for being with us, Steve. Can you tell us about the Darknet and what makes it different from the World Wide Web?
Certainly, my pleasure. But because of the time available, I hope you won't mind if I take some shortcuts and simplify a few things. So both the Darknet and the World Wide Web are networks that coexist on or in that global system of internet networks we call the Internet, interconnected networks. If you find something on the World Wide Web, you open a browser such as Edge or Chrome or Firefox, then if you already know the domain name, you type that into the navigation bar at the top, or you enter your search criteria into a search engine like Google or Bing, and as if by magic, your request passes through the Internet Service Provider's servers across the Internet to the right IP address. It sets up a connection with the device located at that IP address, and then you can navigate or post content or download files or resources or do whatever you want within reason and as far as you're allowed. All the websites, every page on every website on the World Wide Web is linked and accessible using something called the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And these days you need to add an S for security, so you get HTTPS. This is an internationally agreed format and the digital equivalent of one of those old-fashioned analog index card system, if you're old enough to remember that. Now the Darknet isn't so open. You can't access it using a normal browser. Instead you need special encryption software such as the Onion Router or Tor, which is free and can be downloaded from the World Wide Web. Tor is a peer-to-peer network, which means there's no central control or governance involved. It exists because supporters on the internet volunteer to allow part of their computers to act as nodes or relays to receive and transmit Tor data. It works a little like this. When you send data, Tor first wraps those data in 3 layers of encryption before transmitting them as a single package in 3 jumps using randomly selected nodes in the network. That is, 3 different computers in 3 different places belonging to those volunteers I mentioned. The first jump to the so-called entry node removes the first layer of encryption. The second jump, the second and the third jump sent to the last or exit node in the circuit removes the final layer of encryption. So by the time it arrives at its destination, the data are unencrypted and in the clear. Removing all that encryption is like peeling the skins off an onion, hence the name, the Onion Router. Tor is designed for anonymous communication, and the multi-layered encryption model means no one in the chain sees the data. The content is only readable once it leaves the exit node. By using 3 jumps, Tor ensures none of the nodes can see both the IP address of the sender and the IP address of the receiver. And just to make the data a little more difficult to track, periodically Tor sets up a new circuit using new and different nodes. Now, whereas on the World Wide Web people register and buy website names, on Tor the website or domain name is generated automatically by the system, and it looks something like this. By the way, for safety, I've obscured all the addresses on the Darknet images. Note that .onion on the end, not .com or .int or .org or anything like that. All websites on Tor end with .onion. And Tor websites also have fluctuating availability. They're prone to disappear or suddenly become unavailable. In some ways, the user experience on the Tor network is not dissimilar to the World Wide Web. There are specialist search engines like these, which you can use to locate information or find products to buy. You'll even find some sites are given reliability ratings by their customers, but the information and products are likely to be of an illegal, intimate or unsavoury nature. And remember, there are risks involved when accessing such sites. There's no consumer protection or product liability, and you may well find yourself downloading some malware along with that free pirated software or book or film you requested. And if you're up to no good, who knows? You could find yourself chatting with an undercover law enforcement officer posing as a Darknet denizen. Having said that, the Darknet is not just for criminals. It was originally created by the US Navy, and it still receives funding from the US government. It has a role in supporting political dissidents or whistleblowers or common or garden spies when they need to communicate in secret. There are also rumours that certain three-letter agencies run their own Tor hubs to see what they can find out and learn. Now, you can use Tor to access the World Wide Web, but websites may reject that connection. And if you're feeling reckless, you can even use certain specially modified browsers on the World Wide Web to access the Darknet. But that's not a good idea unless you know what you're doing. And perhaps one last piece of advice. If you decide to have a look at the Darknet, be hyper cautious. Protect yourself and use a virtual private network or VPN, and don't download or sign up for anything. You do so at your own risk, and neither I nor ERA take any responsibility for any Darknet consequences.